Sanbonan Baguit. Hello, everybody. I thought of telling you a bit more about the financial benefits of being able to speak Isizulu. It is true that we live in a world in which people are increasingly learning to speak Globish. A couple of years ago, it's actually more than 10 years ago, there was an article in Newsweek, that magazine, and it spoke about how Globish is taking over our globe. What is Globish? It's a simplified version of English, so everybody moving in the direction of English. Yet, the power of the vernacular and the power of local languages must never ever be underestimated. And so I'm wanting to tell you a bit more. It's actually an account story of what happened to me a couple of years ago that proves the financial benefits of being able to speak Isizulu, especially if you do not look like a Zulu. I think it was more than 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, my wife and I, we went down to Durban to board one of these ships. One of these cruises. I think we went on the Melody or the Opera, and went for a cruise. It was over a weekend. But what I forgot to mention was the car that I was driving and coming down was somebody else's car. It was for the weekend. Very, very nice. It was a BMW. Coming down, so we completed our journey on the sea and returned to the port in Durban. Got into the car, and so we left again from Durban up to Gauteng. As it goes, when you are in somebody else's car, sometimes it's possible, especially if it's a very comfortable car, it's easy to speed without you noticing it. And I think we were listening to some good music, and we came closer to the Gauteng area, closer to Johannesburg, and lo and behold, in front of me, it was less than a kilometer in front of me, I saw the Speedcop, and I realized, oh boy, I'm in trouble. And he pulled me over, and I made a quick calculation in my mind. I said, okay, what is this? Okay, I speak the languages of our country. I speak 9 out of the 11. Ngiyakwazi ukukhuluma isiZulu, ngiyakhona ukubolela le ka Sesotho, le dipolelo tse dingwe. I also speak in the different languages of our country. And so I had to make a quick calculation as to what language I was going to speak. Knowing that some people speak about Isigoli, it's a kind of Isizulu, is predominant in the area of Gauteng. I decided, listen, this is Isizulu time. I pulled off, got out of the car, and traffic officer spoke to me in English. He said, sir, you went over the speeding limit, and I acknowledged. I said, no, I agree. I'm guilty. I'm sorry. And he was still speaking English, and he took me to the technology that they use for it to show me what my speed was. And I again said, ngiyaxolisa mnumzane, bekuyiphutha lami aw ngahambe ngesivinini bengafanele ukuthi ngihambe ngaso. Mistake is mine. I did drive at a speed that was not allowed, so I'm sorry. And so then he asked me, what do you do? What do you do for a living? And at the time, he asked me, wenza muphi umsebenzi? I think at that stage he switched to Isizulu. And I said, ngiyafundisa ingane ukukhuluma isiZulu mnumzane. I said, well, I teach children to speak the Isizulu language. And then he reacted. He said, ngiyambala. Really? I said, yeah, ngiyafundisa ingane ukukhuluma isiZulu kodwa ngiyaxolisa ngejubane ebengihamba ngalo. I said, but I apologize for the speed that I drove. And so he was so impressed with the fact that I spoke Isizulu, and so he pointed to his colleague on the other side of the road that was on the freeway, and he said, "Hamba, uyotshela lo muntu ukuthi wenza muphi umsebenzi," which means go to my colleague over there, go to that guy and tell him what work do you do, what work you do. And so I crossed the street and I went to his colleague and we started speaking. And yeah, so I explained to him also. I said, Sawan Namnumzan. He said, yeah, well, Sawan, Wednesday. I said, no, no. I went over the speed limit. I'm sorry. So I said, but the man over there said I should tell you what work I do. And he said, yeah, wow. When's muphi umsebenzi mnumzane? So I said, no, I teach children to speak the Isizulu language. Ngifundisa ingane ukukhuluma isiZulu. So he said, oh, kuhamba kanjani nokho? And so how's it going? I said, cha, kuhamba kahle, kuyafundeka. Ingane ziyafunda. Sifuna ukuthi ingane zethu zikhuluma olukamthaniya ulimi. So I said, no. Children are learning, and we want our children to learn to speak the language of Queen Mtania. And so the next thing, he just stretched out his hand and he said, "Hawu, ngiyabonga mnumzane, ngiyabonga kakhulu, uhambe kahle." So he said, "Thank you so much, sir. Everything of the best, go well." And I thought, oh boy, this is great. I'm not going to get a speeding ticket. I got into the car very quickly and drove off. And so the moral of the story is, don't drive too fast when you're driving a fast car like a BMW, but if you do, make sure that you know how to speak Isizulu. I speak 9 out of our country's 11 languages. I'd be glad to help you. We have a great course called Isizulu 101 Ulimi Lwebele. That will really help you to learn to speak Isizulu. We introduce you also to Isizulu history. Lots of people talking about Shaka Zulu these days with a very interesting series. People are watching during this time about Shaka Zulu. We take you through the life of Shaka Zulu on the course. Lots of other interesting things. The music, various groups and artists that we take you through. It's a multifaceted course, cultural history, but the focus is on getting you to start speaking and to start understanding the language of Ilembe, which is a phrase referring to Shaga. Great speaking to you, and I was glad I could share that with you. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Goodbye.